In today's session, we'll kick things off and talk about connecting to various data sources in Power BI Desktop. Okay, in the Power BI features a rich connector library that lets us connect to different data almost from anywhere. Okay, for example, flat files and folders, JSON files and CSV files, and you name it, any source system files, right? You can access using Power BI Desktop. So you have databases like SQL Server, Access, MySQL, and you have the Power Platform. You have the Power Platform. One second. You have the Power Platform. In the Power Platform, you can so you can use Dataverse. You can access Dataverse, and you can use Power BI data sets. And you can use data flows, right? So you will have connector to all these things. Okay. And blob storage in the case of Azure, blob storage, Azure data, Azure data lake, and more, right? So we have connectors for all these things, and we have some online services like SharePoint, GitHub, Dynamics 365, Google Analytics, so on and so forth. And then finally we have some connectors like what we need or in, right? So Python scripts, Spark, Hadoop, blank queries, plus many more. In order to access all of these data source, so you need to head to the Power BI Desktop. I just simply head to the Power BI Desktop. Okay, I did not open it. Let me just, all of you, please launch your Power BI Desktop and press enter. You just type it in the right in the search here. Okay, in the start menu search, right there you type Power BI Desktop like this, Power BI Desktop, or you can simply go and select the right. So you can select this one. Sorry, one second, let me just, you can go here and you can do it, but better you can type it here, Power BI Desktop. Just click on it once, don't click on it more than once. It will open multiple files, and then your laptop will be very slow. Okay, just click it only once gently. So look here, I just pressed it, it opened one more file. If you open more than one, it will hang, the system will, oh okay, I correctly opened it. Okay, so when you launch it, initially it will open something like, right? So I just clicked on the cross mark, and then once you click the cross mark, you will see something like that. Okay, and what you are seeing here is by default, right, the report canvas. This is where we create the visuals like bar chart and all the other visuals, clustered bar chart, stacked bar chart, 100% stacked bar chart, something like that, right? So all these visuals, whatever you see on the right side, right, so you can create it here. So here you can just drag and drop it here, and you can create it. Okay, so how many of you are yet to install Power BI Desktop? It's pretty simple. Those of you are yet to install, quickly I just I'll tell you one more time. So from next session onwards, no more mix up. Okay, I'm not going to mix up the installation part again. It will be annoyed for many people. So download Power BI Desktop, Power BI for Windows. Press enter and click on the first link, and if you scroll down here you will find this one. Okay, Microsoft Power BI Desktop. Select language English, click on download, and when you click on this it will show two options. It will show you two options, and first option you select it and click next. It will get download. Look here, it will get download. It will take for a while. Once the download has been once it has been downloaded right successfully, so just click on this exe file. That's it. It will open the Power BI desktop like this. Alright, so what we will do is now you can watch my screen, and side by side you start download this, and the moment you need to keep a tab on this one. Okay, so once this download gets successful, you need to click on it and click next. Don't do anything else, don't make any changes, simply click next. It will get installed. All right, so that's it. And next one is you open the Power BI desktop. Okay, like this. Okay, so just to give you a recap on this one, right? So here the navigations, when it comes to navigation, on the left side you can see three icons, right? So this is what your report view. This is what your report view. So what you are seeing here, right? So this is the one, the entire thing here. So this is what your report canvas. Some they call it as a report canvas, right? So this is also called as a report view. And the second one, the second icon, what you are saying here, this is your data view. Okay, so in order to create a report or dashboard, you need to have the data. So you need to load the data into using this tool. We need to load the data. Once you load the data inside this Power BI desktop, obviously to check whether the data got loaded successfully or not, you need to go and click on this one to view the data for the files whatever you loaded. You need to click on this one. It will take you to the another page. In that page you can see the data for the files whatever you imported as part of your Power BI desktop. The last one is your data view. So this is what your data view. This is called your Power Pivot. This is called your Power Pivot. This is called your Power Pivot. Okay, and I just so this is called your so this one is called your Power Pivot, and this is called your report view, and this one, the middle one, is for your data view. Okay, so here in the report view, this is where we create the reports, and this is where we view the data. Once you load the data, so you need to check whether the data got loaded or successfully or not, and what columns are there, how many number of records are there, all these things, and how many columns are there, right? So when you go here, you can see it, and here the Power Pivot. This is kind of a blueprint. Before you construct a house, you need to have a blueprint. Similarly, before you develop any report or dashboard or anything, right? So you need to create a data model design. This is very much important when it comes to Power BI. So we have other data visualization tools like ClickSense or ClickView, and even in Tableau you don't have to do the data model design, but when it comes to Power BI you have to do the data model design as well. So now the question is, so data model design, do I have to do it? Everyone should be knowing it. Yes, one way it is good, learning the data model design, because when you say Power BI, the BI stands for business intelligence, right? The Power BI is one of the business intelligence tools. So business intelligence is an umbrella term. So as part of business intelligence, a lot of reporting tools or ETL tools are available. So you are learning the Power BI software, right? So you are learning the Power BI self-service business intelligence tool. Okay, so if you say you are a BI, Power BI or business intelligence developer, then you should be knowing the data warehouse concepts. As part of the data warehouse concept, you should be knowing what is star schema, all the things, right? So star schema design is nothing but your data model. Okay, even normalized data is also your data model. In general, when it comes to reporting part, right, so we do the star schema design or snowflake schema design. Anyhow, don't worry, we'll discuss about those things in detail later point of view. It is too early to discuss in depth about all these things. Don't worry, at this moment just remember these icons, right, the navigations. Next, on the right side, you can see the fields pane and visualizations pane. Under the visualizations pane, you can see all kind of visuals like charts, different types of charts. In Power BI, we call each charts as a visual. Okay, visual. And the fields pane, just beneath this fields pane, you can find the column names or the table name. Okay, once you load the data into your Power BI desktop, you can find the table name, and when you expand the table name, you will find all the columns belongs to each table. Supposing you are loading two tables or two files, right? So whatever the type of sources that you use it in Power BI, it considers all sources as tables, be it a JSON file, be it an Excel file, be it a .csv file, or you name any data source. End of the day, when you import the data, once you import the data inside the Power BI desktop, all the files will be considered as tables. Remember this is very important. So fine, so now for demonstration purpose, I just click on the get data icon to load the data into Power BI desktop. Okay, so this icon, it resembles exactly like your Excel icon, isn't it? Including the text and the icon, both of them look similar to your Excel file get data thing, right? So the reason why they did to enable the Excel users also to pick up or learn the Power BI desktop quickly, right? They kept or the icons, right? So similar to that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this one, get data, and what I will do is I just use some CSV file. Look here, so you can see a lot of connectors using which, if you want to import the Excel file, click on this and import the Excel file. If you want to import the Power BI datasets, click on this, import it. We have something called data flows and data wares. So depends on the source. For example, your data stored in your SQL server, you need to click on this. Okay, and then you need to specify your server connection, server name and port number, all those details. So it will get connected to this analysis service, SSAS. And for you people to understand, to start with the basic thing, I just click on the text CSV icon. So here what I'm going to do is I'm going to say some file, fact sales, okay, NC sales, something like that. Okay, this is CSV file, right? Okay, what I'm going to do is, okay, I just open this file, sales w04.csv. So what is CSV? CSV stands for comma separated value. Comma separated value. CSV stands for comma separated value. I just redo it. Pay close attention here, and those of you who are non-programming background, please pay close attention here. So here what I'm going to do is I just click on this one and click on text CSV, because I want the data which I received it from my customer is in the form of CSV file, sales w04. What is cs.csv? See, the file name is sales underscore w04. The file extension is .csv. The CSV stands for comma separated value. Okay. Click on open. So the moment when I clicked open, right? So clicked the open button, right? So what happened? It opened a dialog box. So you can see you can preview the data before loading the data. The content of sales w4.csv file content, you can preview it here. Before loading it, you just preview it here. And what you do is you just scroll towards the right side and see what all columns are there, what values are there. You can see it here. And if you are fine and which file you want to load it, which data you want to load it, just by previewing the data you will get a clarity. Okay, so this is the file I just want to load it. The next one is you have 3 buttons here. So load and transform data and cancel. When you click on cancel, this data will not get loaded into your Power BI desktop. Suppose by looking at this data in the preview, right? If you think, oh no, I opened a wrong file. So click on cancel, it will not get loaded. Next one is transform. So before loading the data, I just want to remove some columns. I need to do some kind of data cleaning. Click on transform. Okay. So usually what we do is we click on load. So in this case, in the case of CSV file, so what we do is we click on load. So when I click on load, what will happen is the Power BI desktop establishes the connection with our .csv file. And then it will load the data, the sales underscore W0 file data inside your Power BI desktop. It'll take some time. It's creating connection, in model. Okay. It's very slow. Okay, you need to have a lot of patience. Okay, it loaded, right? So tick mark, I can see that it got loaded successfully. Very good. And what I do is you need to have a lot of patience. Okay, so working on it is, you can see working on it. Everything has gone now. So now on the extreme right side under the fields pane, you can see the sales underscore W04 file got loaded successfully, right? You can see the file. So as I told you, you load any type of file. When it comes to Power BI, it consider them as a table, irrespective of the type of file. It consider everything as a table. So you can see the icon here, the table icon. So this is what your table icon, right? So this is your table icon. So now I want to see what are the columns are there as part of this table. So you need to click on this right arrow to expand and see what columns are there here. You can see it here. So you can see the category. This all the columns are there. So you can see many columns are there, and there are some columns just before the column name. You can see the sigma sign, right? This is called summation, right? Summation in mathematics, you would have seen this school time, right? You would have learned the sum of something like that. It's a profit. So what we can see here is the columns, all the columns that belongs to this table. And if you want to minimize it, just click on it, collapse it. If you want to collapse it, if you want to expand it, you can expand it. In real-time scenario, you will be working on multiple tables like sales W04, sales W05, and different dimension tables and fact tables. Right? So you can see many files here. Anyhow, let us start with the simple data set because it will not take much time, and also it is easier to learn this one. Okay. So now what I do is I just click on the data. So viewing the columns that belongs to the tables are not sufficient. We need to view the data. In order to view the data, you need to click on this icon. So data view. You need to get into the data view and wait for some time. It will take some time to load the data here. Look here. So the data. So these are the data are available as part of this file. So you can just scroll towards the right side to see, since we have many columns, right? You'll need to scroll towards the right and left to see this one, and just take a look at these data. So order ID is a alphanumeric. It has text value, along with that we can see the numeric value, hence it is called alphanumeric. So when Power BI reads the file with the data like this alphanumeric, it considers them as a text data. So here also the forward slash is there. After 2 digits you can see forward slash, again after 2 digits you can see forward slash, right? So it considered, since we have slash here, right, it considered them as a text data type. Okay, so when I click on this order ID column, okay, the moment when you click on this and the entire column got selected, on top you can see here the column name and the data type you can see here. So the order ID column is text data type. The format is text. Summarization, don't summarize. Data category, uncategorized. To know the data type, just click on here. You just click on the column name. Okay, so the moment when you click on this, you can see something like this. Okay, the name, order ID, all the things. Okay, and now let us do one thing. I just go and click on some numeric variable. Sales is a numeric variable. I just click on it here. Sorry, you need to click on it here gently. So look here, sales is a text data type. So there is some problem here. Okay, the sales column supposed to be a quantitative variable, whereas the Power BI, while loading this file, when it comes to sales column, it considered that as a text data type. It assigned the sales column as a text data type. There is some problem with this one. We need to address this one. Okay, but when you click on this one, look here. So why Power BI consider the sales column as a text data type? So you have something, the down arrow here, drop down. When you click on this drop down icon here, just click it once and wait for some time. Look here, so it's loading the column values. Look here. So 100 points. So most of them are numeric value except the first one, $2,309. Since the dollar and comma or text data type, right? So it's alphanumeric value. Along with the numeric value, we have some character came in here. So dollar and comma. Hence, Power BI considered the entire sales column as a text data type because of the order of precedence. Okay. What do you mean by order of precedence? Let's say you have the combination of text as well as numeric value. It will convert entire the numeric value into text data type. I'm not going to discuss any further about order of precedence. You just think that if you have a combination of text and numeric value, even if you have one text value and you have 1 million numeric value, so this is common in almost all the programming languages. What it does is, behind the scene, it converts the entire column as a text data type. So that is what happened. Since this column has been converted as a text data type because of this one value, alphanumeric value, we will not be able to perform any arithmetic operation. Okay, we will not be able to perform any arithmetic operation. So let's say you have something called tax. You want to compute the tax. You will have to compute the tax on your sales amount. But your sales is a text value. Can you multiply a numeric value with the text? You cannot do it. It will throw an error. So we need to convert this as a numeric data type. So before that, we will see other columns also. Quantity column. So look here, quantity is a whole number. Very good. So it's a numeric variable, quantitative variable, and discount is also a decimal number. It's good. And it converted, it assigned the correct data type for these columns. The shipping cost is also a decimal number. Everything is fine. Good. Only thing is the sales column, we need to address it, right? So we need to convert this a numeric data type. So before converting that, we need to remove the dollar and comma. that we will see it little later. At this moment, I just go ahead and click the model icon. The model icon, you see the table form. So if those of you already worked in any RDBMS or any application development, you know what is data model design, right? Since we have only one table here, it shows the table like this. If you have more than one table, it would have created some link, one-to-many relationship, right? Something like that, many to one, one to many. Okay, so at this moment, you just think, this is a blueprint. So this one, right? So this is your called power pivot. Remember, this is called your power pivot. So in the power pivot, you can see the data model design. Okay, you'll be seeing something like this. Anyhow, I'll put some more tables, then you'll be able to understand. So now we are able to import the CSV file successfully. The moment when the CSV file get imported, under the fields pane you can find the table name, and if you expand this you can find all the column name. If you want to see the data for this, you need to go here, data view, and if you want to see the data model design, you need to go here. Fine. So now what I do is I just go and save as something like that. So here I say day 1 load different sources, data sources. Okay, I gave some name. Look here. So when you try to give save as, you can see the file extension. When you save this file, at the end of this file .pbax will get included. Okay, so now you can see the file name displayed on top. Day 1 load different data sources, right? So you can see the name here on top of this one, right? Fine. I just go to the folder here, the dat1 folder. I just stored it, and I just date modified. I just this is the file, right? So day 1 load different data sources .pbax, and look here .pbax. I want you to watch this one very clearly. So in the interview they'll ask you, once you create a report, what is the extension of, and once you create a report and you save the report with some name, what is the extension of the report file? .pbax. Remember this. Power BI some X, right? So this is the report thing. So report file. This is called report file. This is also called as a report file, and the extension of this report file is .pbax. Okay, fine. So the next one is, okay, somebody asked this question, what is the comma separated value file? You said you loaded this sales W04 file here, and the extension of this file was .csv file. That was the one given by the customer. Let's say you join with the company, the very first day when you join the company, they ask you to develop some report. You need to have the data. You ask them data. They gave you the data something like this. So .csv, the extension of this is my data file. The .pbi is a Power BI report file. The .csv is common to any tool. Okay, it's a data file, right? So you will find the CSV stands for comma separated value. So what is that? Comma separated value. So this .csv extension, right? That is the file extension name. CSV is the file extension, and it is nothing but the comma separated value. So what do you mean by comma separated value? When you open this file, when you right click it, and if you click on edit, you will find each column name and the corresponding value gets separated with the other columns. Look here, if I maximum row ID, we have some row ID column and order ID, and we have multiple different columns are the row ID, order date, and the row ID and order ID got separated by a comma. This is called it is also called as a delimiter. They use this term delimiter. Okay, remember delimiter. Okay, so each column is delimited by comma. If you don't have comma, how will you know where the first column starts, where the second column starts? It'll be cluttered, right? So to distinguish from one column to another column, in between the column they use the delimiter called comma. Hence this is called comma separated value. So there are some customers, they will give you the pipe something like this. So the row ID column and order ID column, right? So to identify this or distinguish, the column 1 is row.id, column 2 is order underscore id. To distinguish this, right? So they use the delimiter pipe symbol here. There are some cases where I worked, they use double pipe. In some cases they use space. Okay, simply they use space between one column to another. Again, they leave space. Space also, it causes some confusion. Some case what will happen, the column name, order ID, so these two are same, single column. Since they left the space here, the tool, when it reads the data, it will consider order as a separate column, ID as a separate column. So that's the reason why what they do, right? So in general, they use, instead of leaving space between one column to another column, they use comma here. We have something else called fixed delimiter. I don't want to talk so many at this moment. Remember that comma CSV stands for comma separated value. The file extension is it will be like .csv file. Okay, now the data is given. You learned how to load the CSV file. It is pretty simple. It is pretty simple to load the .csv file. Very good. Fine. Okay, next one is, okay, I loaded the file successfully and I saved this file with some name, and we learned about the extension of the files. Okay, this is the basic thing. You should be knowing it. Fine. The next one is, I just go and make simple transformation. So we discussed about the components in Power BI desktop. There are three components are there. So the one is the report view, the other one is the Power Pivot, and the other one is transform data. These are the three components are there in Power BI desktop. You remember this. This is to view the data. You ignore this one. Okay. When it comes to components as part of Power BI desktop, these are the three components. One is the report view, and your data model design, you do it here. So this is what your Power Pivot, and the other component is transform data. It is also called as a Power Query Editor. Okay, Power Query Editor. You just remember the transform data, which is nothing but the Power Query Editor, is a kitchen. In our home we have kitchen. In the kitchen we do all kind of cleaning. You bought a fish and you chopped the fish and you cleaned it, and you mixed, use some kind of recipes, right? You put some masalas, everything, right? So in the kitchen basically we do all kind of cleaning, everything. So similarly, when it comes to the Power BI desktop, we have something called, you need to click on the transform data. Okay, so you need to just click on this gently, and just beneath this you will find transform data. Use the Power Query Editor to connect, prepare and transform data. So we use transform data, which is nothing but the Power Query Editor, to do the cleaning. In simple term, we pre-process the data. To create a report or dashboard, you need to have a data, isn't it? Without data, how can you create a data? Sorry, how can you create a report or dashboard? You need to have the data. But having the data itself is not sufficient. The data should be clean. There is a saying, the garbage in, garbage out. If your data is there, but it is not clean. If you give the garbage to the data, you will find the garbage only, right? So before you create a report or visuals, you need to clean your data. Okay, you need to pre-process the data. So we use the term called data pre-processing. Data pre-processing. So here, okay, I just scroll towards the right till I find sales column. I just scroll towards the right, and where is the sales column? This is my sales column. So what currently we are in Power Query Editor. Look here, remember this Power Query Editor kitchen. Okay, so this is where we came here to do the data pre-processing. So including this one. So what? Changing the data type. We need to change the sales column as a numeric data type. If you watch closely each column, right? Each column, right? You just before each column you can see 1.2, and here 1, 2, 3, ABC. So ABC is nothing but text data type. Sales is a text data type. Product name is a text data type. And 1, 2, 3 is a whole number. It is a quantitative variable. It's a numeric variable, quantity column, but it is a whole number. Whereas discount is 1.2, which means this is also a numeric variable, but it is a decimal data type, right? So the discount need not to be whole, right? A whole number. So you have something like 2.5, 0.1, 0.23, something like that. Since it is fine. So now what I am going to do? I am going to do a simple transformation, and if I just click on here in the middle of the name. I just right click on it, replace values. Here what I am going to do is, so already I have seen, right, dollar, right? So wherever the dollar is there, you replace with blank. Okay, before that I just show you that one here also. Look here, 230, right? This is what I'm talking about. I want to remove the dollar, and what the moment when I remove that, it will be all right. So for that, in order to remove that, I just click on the replace. This is called your contextual menu. So when you keep the cursor on top of the column name or in the middle of the column name, and if you right click on it, you will get the context menu. In the context menu, you will find an option called replace values. So the dollar, I want to replace the dollar by blank values. Okay, here I'm not going to specify anything. So let us see what happens. It will take some time. Look here. It's still loading. Okay, we need to wait. And when I just click on here, see, we don't see any dollar here, right? So dollar got removed. Okay, fine. And then we removed the dollar, but still the sales column remains as a text data type. Okay, so after removing the dollar, without fail, you need to change the data type. Sales is a decimal number, isn't it? So look here. So this is very important. When you point the cursor or when you keep the cursor on top of the column name, and when you right click on it, you will get the context menu. On the right side, the drop down, if you click on it, you will find what all the values are there. You can see it. On the left side, the data type. When you just gently click on it once, you will find the data types that are available as part of the Power Query. Decimal number, fixed decimal number, whole number, percentage, date, time, all these data types, text and true, false, Boolean data type, and binary. Boolean, binary, right? So these all things are true or false, and binary, and using locale is there. Okay, what I am going to do is I just click on this and select decimal number. Sales column is a decimal number. Look here, the data type got converted as a decimal number. So after I converted this as a decimal number, you can see the icon got changed, 1.2, which means that it got converted as a decimal decimal number data type successfully. But if you scroll down here, you can see somewhere error is there, right? Okay, so far what we did, whatever the transformation we did it got registered at the under the applied steps pane. Look here. So what we did here, if you want to see previously what we did, right? Filtered rows. I just click on this one, filtered rows. I just clicked this one and I was looking at it, right? And then we replaced the value. Previously, what changes we made? What type of pre-processing we did it? We replaced the dollar by empty string. It removed the dollar, right? And so in simple term, whatever the transformations that you do it here in your Power Query editor, right? Or not only sales column, any column you do any changes, right? It will get registered like this in sequence, right? It will register. First I changed the one second, yeah. So the source, and this is the first one. Okay, I'll just walk you through all these things one by one after another. The source, right? So what are the transformation data pre-processing that you do it here? It will get registered here one after another. Okay, so in sequential it will get registered. First one is source. I did not do anything, right? The moment when I open the Power Query editor, the source, promoted, headers, change type, these 3 steps got applied automatically. We did not do anything. On the right side of the source, you will find a gear icon. When you click on this, it will show you the folder path, in which path and which file. So we know sales underscore w04.csv is the file name. This file is available under which path? You can see that here. And is this CSV document? Yeah. So you can forget about all the delimiter is comma. So you will get to know. So this is the one will help you to get to know. So what is the source for this? In which folder this file resides? You can find it here. And promoted headers. So this step also applied automatically by Power Query editor. Okay. So what it did was it moved the column names from the first row to the header here. Okay, and the next one is the change type. It automatically detected the data type. For example, in the sales, if you click on this down arrow, you can find the sales data type. So initially it was text. Look here, initially it was text. It assigned the data type. So when you open the Power Query editor, it promoted the headers and then it assigned the data type for each and every column. Based on the values that are available as part of each column, it automatically detects the data type. But we know very well the sales is a numeric variable. Why Power BI detected this column as a text data type? Because there was a text character value was there along with the numeric value. Hence, it converted the entire numeric data type into text data type. Okay. Next one is replace value. Next, what we did, we replaced the value. Next step, what we did, we removed the dollar. We replaced the dollar by blank value. And the next one is the filtered rows. And one second. So this is the one replaced value each row. So after we replaced the right, it did something like that. And then the next one is change type 1. And then I convert the decimal number explicitly. Okay, fine. But if you don't convert this as a decimal number, still it will remain as a string data type because of the character's presence, right? It got the entire sales column got converted as a text data type. Even if you remove the dollar, character, everything, right? But still it will remain as a text data type only. So you need to explicitly convert as a decimal number. Yes, we did. In this case, it is a numeric variable, but it is of a decimal data type. It is not a whole number. Fine, we did this. But if you scroll down, but still you need to look at this. Do we have any error, during this data processing activities, whatever we carried out, right? So did we encounter? Yes, we could see something like error. So why did we get error? You just go back to the previous step and you can go back to the, see, look here. In this case, NA was there. it was trying to convert. When we try to change the sales column data type from text to decimal number, it tried to convert the NA. NA is not available, missing values. Since there were some missing values are there, it it got converted. While you converted the data type of the text into decimal data type, it created error. It encountered error because of the null value. Null value, if you try to convert the whole number, right? Sorry, decimal number, it will throw an error, right? So it is throwing error. So what we will do is, we need to go one step further and just right click on it, replace errors. Replace all the errors by some 0 here. Anyhow, the errors were due to the NA, missing value, right? I am going to give some 0 here. And if you see here, we don't see any error. So here it helps us, right? This one, the profiling, the valid 100% values are valid in this column, and there are 0% error and empty records. We don't have empty records. So empty means nothing is there, okay? At least now we have 0. 0 is not nothing, okay? 0 is some value, right? So earlier NA was there. NA means not available, missing value, blank value. So this helps us to understand, the profiling helps us to understand the quality of the data in each column. Similarly, here also we don't see any error. Fine. Now we did a simple data pre-processing. It is pretty simple. You don't have to write any code. You don't have to write any script like in Java, Python, to convert the data type and to remove the character which is available as part of your numeric value. You don't have to write script, but here you don't have to write script. Just point and click, and then you just replace the value, replace the errors. That's it, right? It's pretty simple. But behind the scene, what is happening is, for each step, for example, replace the value, we replaced the dollar by blank value, empty string, right? So it generates the script. This is called your M language. In Power Query Editor, there is something called M language is generated, right? M language is used in Power Query Editor. Please remember this, okay? There is something called M engine. The M engine is the one responsible for generating the M language corresponding to the transformation, whatever we did it just by pointing and clicking it. So in this case, the replaced value, right? So we just right click this one, and then we did replace. We just selected replace, but behind the scene, look here, it generated a M, right? So M language script. Table dot replace value, change the type dollar. You change to this one. For which column? Sales column. For sales column, currently it is a text. Replace the text data type of sales, right? In this text data type of sales column, you replace the dollar by. That's it. So you don't have to write script. You don't have that headache, right? It's pretty simple, isn't it? And also, now the question is, so why it registers whatever the transformation that I did it here? The advantage is, for example, I mistakenly, for example, let's say, I just remove this one now. I just do one thing. So earlier it was error is there, right? So I just put something like remove errors. I just click on it. Sorry, not remove errors. Remove errors, simply remove the error. So it will remove the error in the sense, right? Entire record will get removed. Don't do that mistake. Just right click it. Replace errors. I just give 1 here. Wherever error is there, you put it 1. Later on, I realized no. It should not be 1. It should be 0. My manager tells me, hey, replace all the error by 0, man. Okay, so don't replace it by 1. So what I do is, I want to undo the changes. So you just click on this cross here. You'll go back to the previous state. So now you right click on it, and you just see where the remove errors. sorry, not the remove errors, I just doing the same mistake again. Right click on it and replace errors by 0. So these steps are helpful to understand, what sequentially what kind of data transformation that we did it, right? So if you go here, you can see what transformation we did it, and filtered rows and change data type, right? So what data type we changed? Changing the data type is also data pre-processing. Okay, replace the errors. This is also data transformation. We transform the error into 0, right? Errors by 0. Okay, if you want to undo, right, I mistakenly did something, you click on cross, or if you want to go back, I don't want to do filtering, you click on it. If you want to undo the steps previously whatever you write, you just go up and delete it. Logically you need to do it. Okay, see, is behind the scene, sequentially whatever the steps that we carried out, is registering it here. All the steps is registering it here under the applied steps. And just above this you can find something like query settings. Just beneath this you find properties. If you want to give some meaningful name, sales data for week 4, you give some meaningful name. You can rename the query here. Look here, what happened here. You can see something like queries. Actually this is a table name. When you open any table, when you open a Power Query editor, all the tables are considered as queries. Just remember this. Just earlier I told you, irrespective of the type of the file, when you load it into your Power BI desktop, under the fields pane, everything will be, all the files will be considered as a table, irrespective of the type of the file, right? But when you open the Power Query editor, all the files, all the tables will be named as queries. Sales, right? Look here, when I press, one second, I just press enter here. When I press enter, on the left side you can see that here, the sales data for week 4, right? It got changed, it got renamed. You can give some meaningful name. The naming convention, everything will be given as part of your project. Once you get onboarded to your project, they will give you what name should be given, what naming convention should be given, right? So you don't have to worry too much about this at this moment. So hope you understood at a high level with this simple example how to do data pre-processing. We simply remove the dollar, replace the dollar by, we remove the dollar by smartly replacing the dollar by empty thing, and then we converted this into decimal data type, and then we removed it, replace the error by 0. These are the transformations we did it, right? Fine. Now next step is, I just click on this one here. So just under the file you will find close and apply. When you click on this drop down, you will find 3 options: close and apply, apply and close. So what does it says? Whatever the changes that you made it to the data set, can I make it permanent? Yes, apply. So whatever the changes I made it, make it permanent, okay, and then you close it. And the next one is apply. Don't close it. Whatever the changes so far I made it, you apply it, make it permanent, but don't close this Power Query editor. Still, I'm yet to make some more data transformation. The last one is close. Whatever the transformation I made it, right, don't apply it. Okay, simply close it. So in this case, whatever the transformation we made it, it was valid transformation and we did not encounter any error, nothing. So what I do is just click on file, close and apply. Close this Power Query editor and then apply whatever the changes I made it to the actual data. Actual data in the sense, remember one thing very clearly, this is very important. See, it applied all the changes. To verify that, I just go to this data view and click on the sales. When you click on the sales, on top you can see the data type got changed, right? For this one it got changed to decimal number. Okay, it got changed as a decimal number. Very good, right? Fine. Okay, now what I do is I just go back to the Power Query editor, transform data one more time. So here what I do is I remove this column. This column is not required for my analysis. My manager want me to generate some reports, and he has given me the data set, but these columns are too much for me. I don't need, because in my data set I have close to, how many number of columns are there here? So 26 columns. You can find it at the bottom here. I don't know why the hell it is. One second, sorry. What happened? It's not recorded. Okay, it is recording. To generate a report requested by my manager, I don't need all these 26 columns. Okay, so what I am going to do is I am going to remove this column. This column is nowhere related. Okay, so remove column. Okay, I just removed one column. What I do is, next one is, okay, I am pretty sure, whatever the column that I removed it from my report. Okay, from report file. Okay, close and apply. Now I just go back to my Power BI desktop. What happened? Power BI desktop is still got closed. No, it is going on. Look here, the first column row ID got removed here, right? So the first column was row underscore ID. I went to this Power Query editor and I removed that column there. Okay, you can remove it here also. You can remove it here also. Usually we do all kind of data transfer, deleting the column, renaming the column, everything we do it as part of the Power BI query editor. Okay. Okay, row underscore ID column got removed. Now the question to you all is, so whatever the column, the row underscore ID which I removed it here, so the same thing would have got updated in my sales underscore w04.csv file. This is the file that is external to my Power BI desktop. This is available outside of my Power BI desktop, right? But that column will still remain as it is. Whatever the changes you made it, the data type changes, you remove the dollar, everything, it is all happening inside your report only. And the column you removed it, it's all happened as part of the report, okay, not in your file. Your file, data file will remain intact. Look here, still the column is there in this file, right? So whatever the changes you made it as part of the Power BI desktop, it's all happening in the Power BI desktop report itself, right? You remove the row ID in the Power BI report, not from the operating system file, right? You just remember this. So these are the basic things you should be aware of it. That's why I just telling you everything. So with this you are able to understand how do we, with this simple example you understood how do we import the comma separated value file and how to do the simple data transformation using Power Query editor.